There is something being whispered around Foxboro that a lot of people outside that building are probably going to read the wrong way. The Patriots are not just collecting names, they are testing who actually fits inside this new hierarchy. Kyle Williams has become a real talking point. A possible trench monster has popped up on the radar. A rookie tight end is earning real respect in that locker room, and even the depth battle in the secondary has that behind-the-scenes feel to it. I'm going to show you where the real signal is sitting behind all these moves. Drop a like and tell me your confidence level in this plan from 0 to 10. Starting with Kyle Williams, I'm looking at this roster like someone trying to read what is being said between the lines. All this talk about moving the kid right now feels way more like internet noise than a serious Foxboro read. Because one thing is admitting this offense has clearly moved up a level. It is something totally different to take a 23-year-old receiver, a third-round pick, with real speed, and act like his story is already over after a rookie season where he was basically used as a deep-shot gadget. And yeah, we can say this straight up. When the Patriots trade a first-round pick for A.J. Brown and hand Romeo Doubs a big 4-year contract, nobody with a straight face is looking at Kyle Williams and saying, "All right, he has to be the #1 target now." That is not his job at this point. But roster work behind the scenes is not only about the very top of the depth chart. It is about fit, packages, matchups, and who can beat a specific coverage when the defense is too busy trying to survive the bigger names. That is where Williams gets interesting. He had only 10 catches as a rookie, 209 yards, and most of the public memory comes from that 72-yard touchdown against Tampa Bay. I understand the impatience. Patriots fans have watched receivers disappear way too fast, and nobody wants to sit through that bad movie again. But throwing Williams into the same bucket as Jalen Polk and Javon Baker is lazy. Those situations had a different feel. With Williams, the internal conversation sounds different. Mike Vrabel already pointed out that he embraced the strength work, talked with the performance staff, and improved his ability to handle contact even as a speed player. Todd Downing gave away even more when he talked about cleaner details. Route tops, play strength, footwork, blocking, moving around multiple positions. To me, that is the behind-the-scenes line that matters. He is moving all over the place and handling a big role. Coaches do not talk that way about a player being pushed toward the exit. What the Patriots have to do now is stop treating speed like decoration. With Brown and Doubs pulling attention, Williams can become the guy who punishes man coverage, stretches the sideline, forces safeties to respect depth, and gives Drake Maye a clean vertical ball. And if Kayshon Boutte really stays surrounded by trade chatter, that door opens even wider. So no, I am not buying the rush to give up on him. The Patriots are trying to get bigger at receiver, yes. They are working the red zone, yes. But a dangerous offense does not survive on size alone. It survives on threat. If Williams got stronger without losing that burst, Foxboro needs to unlock it, not hand that upside to another team for cheap. After that first story speaks to not throwing away a young piece too early, the second one goes to the other side of the table. When there is even a chance to add a heavy veteran, the kind of player who changes the mood of an entire defensive line, the Patriots at least need to close the door and talk it through. And the name here is Vita Vea. What is floating around is simple and dangerous at the same time. Vea is entering the final year of his deal with Tampa Bay. He wants a new extension. He showed up for mandatory minicamp, but he did not participate. In NFL language, that is not just a paperwork detail. That is negotiation, leverage, discomfort, and maybe a standoff. And when a 31-year-old two-time Pro Bowler, Super Bowl champion, with that size and that reputation against the run, enters that kind of situation, smart teams watch quietly before they move. That is exactly where I want New England to be. No panic, no throwing out everything like cap space is a toy, but also no pretending this kind of opportunity shows up every week. The Patriots have Christian Barmore and Milton Williams, a duo that can cause real problems inside. But there is a fair question against the run after Khyiris Tonga's departure, since he led that area last season. Who holds the middle when opponents try to wear this defense down by force? Who creates second and long? Who turns a 4-yard run into a 1.5-yard collision? Vea is that type of player. He does not need pretty stats to change a Sunday. He eats space, wrecks blocking angles, drives the center backward, and frees linebackers to arrive clean. That does not always make the highlight reel, but it shows up on the face of the opposing offense in the third quarter, when nobody wants to keep running into him. The obstacle is obvious: cost. Tampa Bay knows teams would call. The player wants a contract. The age does not fit perfectly with a rebuild trying to get younger, faster, and more sustainable. Eliot Wolf and Mike Vrabel would have to measure whether the immediate impact is worth the investment, and whether that kind of move speeds up the project instead of just buying an expensive name. But the behind-the-scenes read I would not ignore is this. If the Patriots believe this defense is already close to becoming a real unit, Vea is one of those pieces that shortens the path. That is not a small move. That is a message. New England saying it does not only want to compete with pretty offense and young promises, it wants to get physical again with anybody in the AFC. After talking about force in the middle of the defense, the story changes volume but not importance. Because not every behind-the-scenes signal that shapes the future comes with a massive contract or trade rumor. Sometimes it comes from a veteran's line, said without drama, inside a position room. And when Hunter Henry speaks highly of Eli Raridon, I pay attention. Raridon arrived as the 95th pick, the second year in a row that New England held that third-round slot. At first, it looked like a slower plan. Hunter Henry was coming off the best season of his career, with 60 catches, 768 yards, and 7 touchdowns. Julian Hill had signed for 3 years and looked ahead in the rotation. But Hill landed on injured reserve on June 1st, ending his first Patriots season before it even started. Suddenly, the rookie's path to snaps became much more real. That is where Henry's comment carries weight. He did not talk like someone threatened. He talked like a captain, like a pro, like a guy who understands what a strong room is supposed to be. When he says Eli is doing a good job, that he is trying to soak everything up, that coming into the league brings pressure, veterans, young guys, adjustment, it reveals 2 things. First, Raridon is not lost. Second, Henry is helping build the bridge, even knowing his own contract ends after the season and that he turns 32 during the year. That is real culture, not the pretty word tossed around in a press conference. Culture is the veteran who still produces, still leads, still wants to win, but does not treat the rookie like an enemy. And for a team trying to give Maye more answers, that can become gold. Raridon has size, blocking ability, and the profile to attack the middle of the field. Austin Hooper had 21 catches, 263 yards, and 2 touchdowns as the second tight end last year with real snap volume. So there is room for a rookie to enter without needing to carry the whole thing by himself. The Patriots need this kind of development. Outside weapons grab the headlines, but a reliable tight end supports a young quarterback on third down, in the red zone, and off play action. If Raridon learns fast from Henry, New England is not just covering an absence. It may be preparing the next internal answer before the market forces a decision. And now comes the kind of name that slips past people who only track big transactions, but inside an NFL building can become a serious conversation once camp starts tightening up. Channing Canada. He is not the main corner on the defense. He did not arrive as a high draft pick. There was no red carpet. But look at the context. The Patriots have Christian Gonzalez, Carlton Davis, and Marcus Jones forming a strong starting trio, maybe one of the most reliable groups on the roster. Behind them, though, there is a battle, and cornerback depth is never a small detail over a long season. Canada comes out of TCU as an undrafted rookie after a very different kind of road. He started at Houston Christian, went through Trinity Valley, became a 3-star JUCO prospect, received almost 40 offers, picked TCU, and played 38 games with 18 starts and 2 interceptions. That does not scream ready-made star, but it does scream player who had to climb step by step with no clean path and no easy hype. And that kind of background, when it meets a demanding coaching staff, can sometimes turn into fuel. The athletic profile is what pops. Almost 5 feet 11 and a half, 190 pounds, long arms, 4.36 in the 40-yard dash, a 36-inch vertical, a 10'6" broad jump, and an 8.47 relative athletic score. That is NFL physical material. He has speed, hip fluidity, patience in man coverage, and the ability to close space in zone. In a group that already has talent at the top, a player like that does not need to become a savior. He needs to prove he can survive in specific snaps, bother receivers at the catch point, and bring immediate value on special teams. The concerning side is there too. Limited ball production, only 2 turnovers between Trinity Valley and TCU, some penalty issues, limited versatility, and a potential struggle getting off blocks in the run and screen game. That is why he went undrafted. But the Patriots are not looking for perfection in that part of the roster. They are looking for someone willing to be developed, fight for a spot, and make the starters feel like nobody gets to relax. Fan temperature check. From 0 to 10, how much do you like this kind of athletic bet at the back of the secondary? Because to me, Canada is exactly the kind of name we do not put at the center of the script in June, but we keep in the memory bank before camp. If he cleans up the hands, discipline, and physical part of his game, he can turn a forgotten signing into a real roster fight. The final read is this. The Patriots are working on more than one layer at the same time. Kyle Williams represents smart patience with young talent. Vita Vea would be a major swing of ambition if Tampa Bay opens any door. Eli Raridon shows that the future of the offense may also come from the tight end room. And Channing Canada reminds you that strong rosters are not built only with big names, but with hidden competition. I like this movement because it feels less like improvising and more like a hard filter for who helps New England become physical, deep, and dangerous again. If you agree with this Foxboro read, subscribe to the channel and come track the next signal with us.